Good morning and welcome to Morning Movie News, where moviegoers clearly have summer 2015 on the brain. I mean, all of 2015 is supposed to be pretty amazing. This is a year that we believe is going to be on par with 1939 in terms of the lineup coming out of Hollywood, which is very exciting because while Hollywood hasn't per se promised us a legendary year, the anticipation is there. But summer 2015 is the first wave, so I think we're all very excited and somewhat nervous to kick this thing off. Is it going to be as good as we expect, or is Hollywood going to fumble the ball? And the reason I use a football pun is because the Super Bowl is supposed to traditionally kick off a lot of summer ad campaigns. And it is for some films, and in some cases films have already gotten started, and they're using the Super Bowl, I think, in not the best way possible, and in fact are even a little underwhelming, and I think are handicapping their campaigns somewhat. And we'll discuss those as the second story of the day. But let's start out on a positive note with, I think, an ad campaign that's getting things just right. And lo and behold, it's for a Universal film, which of course is in the same parent company as NBC, which is airing the Super Bowl. And I think this is some in-house synergy on the level of Disney that we've seen of late. So I think that Jurassic World is just being positioned perfectly for maximum discussion on Super Bowl Sunday. I think this movie is going to land just perfectly. So how is the stage being set? Of course, I will review the trailer when it hits on Sunday, but right there, a very big thing about Jurassic World is that they have not have any sneak peeks of their Super Bowl trailer. It accidentally leaked online for, I think, like maybe an hour or so, about a week ago, but overall they've kept it under wraps, and I think that's great. No Instagram sneak peek, no like 8-second teaser trailer for the trailer. They're just going to have you see it on game day, and I think that that's going to make for the biggest impact. So I think that's a great decision. But there are other things they're doing to get people excited, and that of course is the website. Now, one of you even tweeted me about it yesterday, which is how it came to my attention. Of course, I'm sure they'll direct everybody to the website on Super Bowl Sunday, but Alejandro Bermudez said, "Grace, you have got to check out the Jurassic World website. It is incredible." So I did. We're going to talk about that right now, and I recommend you check it out as well. Follow Alejandro's advice and go to JurassicWorld.com. I've put a link down below in the video description, just if you want to make sure you get there for sure. So what's so amazing about this website? Well, it was pretty good to begin with, by the way, when they launched it right before the first trailer debuted. And at that point, it was more of a, launching pad, a coming attraction, I guess you could say, for the Jurassic World theme park website. But the big, place to play around was the Mizrahi link. You can go and visit the parent corporation for Jurassic World that owns it and bought it from John Hammond's company, InGen, and learn about the founder, their mission statement, what they do around the world, other parts of the corporation, and it was really well realized. It was really, really fantastic world building on a website. Let's hope the movie is this in depth. I mean, they can't expect everyone to have gone on the website before they see the movie, but it really is a fantastic Easter egg for those who want to broaden their Jurassic World experience. So that was already cool enough, but it's gotten even better. Now, two of the things that this is accomplishing, we'll talk about the more exciting one first, and that's they've introduced the name of the dinosaur that they genetically create in the film, and that's Indominus Rex. I think that's a really cool name. I think it builds, of course, on the popularity of the old school T-Rex, so it gives a level of familiarity. It's easy to say. It's not too heavy a scientific name where people are like, I can't put that on a t-shirt, and as we all know, that's the whole point of this dinosaur. And so it's like, it's a T-Rex, but it's like a T-Rex 2.0, and I think Indominus is like, I'm going to dominate, the movie and the other characters and the other dinosaurs and the box office. So I think it's a real exciting name. I don't know how scientifically accurate it is, or if a scientist would actually ever name a dinosaur that. But don't forget, this is a theme park naming a dinosaur. It's named. That's the beauty of the Jurassic World that they've set up for this film, the way they've evolved the franchise. Everything that's done in the world of the movie is for promotional sake, because it's for a company's theme park, and that just plays into the promotional aspects of the film in real life. So it's like layers upon layers, and it just works all in the favor of the franchise. So not only have they named the dinosaur Indominus Rex, and you can see its teeth. It needs some braces. I'd be like, you couldn't engineer a dinosaur with straight teeth, but that'll just make it hurt more when it bites, I guess. But they've also they have an ad for it on the website because, of course, they're planning to debut this dinosaur in the theme park. So just like if you were visiting any theme park website, it has an ad for this new attraction, and it says Indominus Rex, like bigger teeth, bigger, coming this summer, and you get I think it taps into our level of excitement for theme park rides. And I know some of you lately have said you don't understand the hype around theme parks or audience's engagement there, but I think you have to understand if you remove yourself from your own opinion on it, that there's a huge audience for theme parks. It's a huge billion-dollar industry. So clearly, if they can tap into that excitement that people feel for visiting theme parks, they can get people to go to see the movie, perhaps more so than would initially go opening weekend, right? So it's very clever to tap into that kind of level, another level of anticipation. It's almost a Pavlovian response to theme park fans. I am one of, by the way. So not only is there an ad for Indominus Rex, but there's a fantastic interactive theme park map that you can click on. And also they have things like wait times for the rides. They have the current temperature at Isla Nublar. They have, the park capacity. These are all really exciting and cool ideas that I think are just so much fun and really pull you into the world of the movie. They also show some brand integration. For instance, if you go to Jurassic World and you want to stay on site, you have to. It's an island. You'll be staying at the Hilton. It's the Hilton Isla Nublar, and I think that's a fantastic bit of product placement that works. It's obvious, but not too obvious. And on a side note, I'll be reviewing Project Almanac later today, but they had a tremendous amount of product placement in that movie. I was like, oh, you guys like Coke Zero, huh? Or Sprite? Oh, and look, you're using an Xbox. You could have used any gaming system, but you were specifically like, let's use this Xbox. It got name recognition. It got a visual, great visual shot. It was just, again, it was really obvious, but it was integrated really beautifully into the film, so it didn't seem sloppy or inappropriate. It was really well done, and this is a good bit of product placement as well. I only wish that when you clicked on dining and stuff, they would have names for the restaurants. They have a Jimmy Buffett in the movie. They could have just been like, Jimmy Buffett's is here, but they could have had like some fun name for the the theme park where you would be eating. Now, all of this also begs the question: what are Universal Studios' plans going to be going forward if Jurassic World is a success? I think all signs point to it being a success. It's the Jurassic World franchise, looks really well realized, and of course it stars Star-Lord. So I think the movie is on track to do quite well. So I think when you look at the theme park aspects, I think this is almost like a test run for what they're going to do in the parks. And I would really love to see, I think the Jurassic World aspects of the Universal Studios theme parks is okay. I think it's a little underwhelming. It doesn't live up to the hype of the film. I think it only reminds you of it instead of being an extension of that. But after we've seen what Universal's been able to do with Harry Potter, I would love to see them kind of take the Jurassic World aspects or sections of the Universal Studios theme parks to that level. And I think, again, they have such a beautifully well-realized world that they can just bring in that team, that production design team, to recreate it at the theme parks, as they did with Harry Potter. And this could be a really lucrative area for production designers, being asked to kind of work on a film almost twice, to once build it for the film, but then to totally recreate it and do a fantastic job for a theme park experience to allow fans to actually enter the world of the film. So Disney should be keeping an eye on this development, because the Wizarding World of Harry Potter has already been a little bit too much competition for them, or at least made Universal closer to being on par with Disney World and other Disney theme parks. So this could be another step in the direction of making an even more level playing field. So I'm curious what you think of the Jurassic World ad campaign so far. Is it doing a good job setting the stage for Jurassic World, building the hype machine, or is it just not grabbing you? And you have to be a theme park fan to be really excited about this. So I said some movies weren't doing a great job at the Super Bowl, and I want to talk about two specifically, and that is Terminator Genisys and The Avengers Age of Ultron. Avengers actually seems to have a Super Bowl spot. It was debuted late yesterday, but there's not a single new frame of footage in the trailer. It is just a shortened, abbreviated version of what they've already released. And then also, Terminator Genisys has pretty much an abbreviated version of their first trailer with this one shot of the T-1000, or whatever it will be named, played by Byung-Hun Lee. It's a somewhat interesting redesign on the Terminator T-1000 to give it kind of like its own skeleton, but I think it's supposed to be liquid metal. The thing can be anything that it wants. Why would it have this base level? It's so intricate. It doesn't really make any sense unless it's like the Mystique version of a Terminator. I think it seems like overkill to me, and it reminds me actually of the female Terminator, who had this weird design with blue lights on her, if you might recall, and you were just like, that seems like not necessary. It's like sloppy science fiction. I think really good science fiction is always rooted in solid logic. So I think it's disappointing that both these movies would go to the Super Bowl, pay the money for a 30-second spot, yet not really show up with anything new. I think it's almost underwhelming, and I personally would think that they should just not advertise during the Super Bowl if they're not going to give us anything new. Like for Avengers, literally nothing new. There should have been just some kind of shot, some reveal. How about the Vision? If you're going to debut Vision, why don't you debut him during the Super Bowl? That would be interesting. I mean, I know they might hold him later in the game, but then how about something more on the twins? Why don't you focus more on Quicksilver and Scarlet Witch, right? Just something different. I feel it's just a missed opportunity to the point of being disappointing, and as I said again, a step back for those two ad campaigns. I think Avengers, but it's weird though. I think Avengers will be fine no matter what because it's Avengers 2: Age of Ultron. I think Terminator Genesis is in a little bit of a problem situation no matter what they do in terms of their ad campaign, because I think the casting is so underwhelming, and I think the franchise, this entry looks to not do anything new with the franchise. It looks just more like the same old, which I think we all agreed at this point is heading in the wrong direction. All right, so that's the second story of the day. Now, the third story is also about the Avengers, and while they aren't getting a lot of Super Bowl hype, they're doing a nice job at Toy Fair, and that's via Lego, which has revealed their Helicarrier set, and it's just absolutely amazing. This is incredibly intricate. It just looks like so much fun. You see it and you're like, I want to build this. It comes with a slew of cool action figures. It even has like a little briefing room, and I love, as cool as the Avenger figures are, I love the SHIELD operatives, and they all have the little SHIELD suits on, and it just really reminds me of some of the best imagery out of the comics. So I think that Lego is a tremendous asset to any movie these days, and the fact they're continually upping their game with the kind of sets they're delivering, I think is just wonderful. I actually bought a Lego set when I saw after seeing the Lego movie. I bought Bad Cop's Cruiser, and it was really fun to build. I think that I was surprised at the intricacy of sets these days and the many layers to get the final product. There are pieces upon pieces in here. It's not just what you're seeing on the outside, which is, I think, interesting and fun to do. It really makes it even more of a puzzle. And then a puzzle that you can play with. So I'm curious to what you guys think. Do you think that Lego you are excited as I am about these Lego sets, and do you think this one is as impressive as I do? And what else do you want to see Lego build? Do you think they should, maybe they should have more worlds instead of always having vehicles, etc.? But I'm sure they were able to use a lot of their Star Wars pieces in this set as well. All right, so those are the three stories of the day, and I have a really interesting viewer question from Lazar Avramovsky. And Lazar Avramovsky says, question: what do you think of the New 52 Wonder Woman and Superman relationship, and do you think it would be a good fit for the movies, or do Wonder Woman and Batman, would they be a better fit? With a smiley face. Great question, Lazar, and I kind of like the way it builds off of yesterday's question about, how can feminists or people who are in favor of strong female characters be okay with characters like Emma Frost and Mystique? And I think that generated a really interesting conversation in the comments yesterday. So that's one of the reasons I picked this question for today. Now, when the Superman-Wonder Woman relationship first debuted in the New 52, as you might recall, I wasn't a big fan. I actually made a video saying the top 5 reasons this is awesome to try and convince myself it was okay. But, I felt that Superman and Wonder Woman seemed more like brother and sister to me than a romantic couple. But I have to say, as it's evolved, and I think especially as it's gotten better talent put on the relationship to develop it, I'm starting to come around to it. And I don't want to see, I think that Wonder Woman and Batman in the movies would not work. We might see maybe there'll be a relationship that's hinted to in the past because Ben Affleck's playing an older Batman. We'll see what happens there. That could be an interesting bit of fan service. But I think that speaks to one of my biggest problems with the Superman-Wonder Woman relationship in the New 52. And that's that we never got to see it develop. We never saw the courtship. It was almost as if, boom, immediately they were a couple. They looked at each other and they said, I think clearly we're the superest, awesomest people in the room. We should hook up. And I think that's not particularly romantic. I think the relationships that really make an impression in comics are the ones that have a slow burn. That's one of the reasons the X-Men relationships are so good, because there's so much drama around them. But think about how Grant Morrison walked us through all the different levels of the Scott Summers-Emma Frost relationship. From just, a forbidden flirtation to an actual affair to, the rebound from that affair to Jean Grey giving her blessing from beyond the grave. I just think the whole thing, really got us emotionally involved. And I think that was key to why that relationship, even though they're broken up, you still see the connection between the characters, and you feel it. It's organic. And I think that never developed for Superman and Wonder Woman because, bam, it was more of a high concept idea than something that the writers generated. It seemed like something that was delivered from up on high, talking, of course, about the suits, and the creative teams were just asked to execute it. So it reeks of that kind of decision. And that's why I think it's taken so long to kind of get it a course correct or just to get it on track at all. And I would credit the person who's doing a good job with it to Peter Tomasi. He did a fantastic job and continues to do a fantastic job outlining the Damian Wayne, Bruce Wayne relationship, that father-son relationship, and taking the things that a young 10-year-old boy would do and just kind of putting the twist on them if that 10-year-old boy were Robin and his father was Batman. I love the latest issue when Damian wanted to see if Batman was still sleeping because he wanted to go out, get up, Dad, I want to go out and start our day. And that was just, right, something that happens between children and parents everywhere, and this was being done in the context of Batman. It was really brilliant. And I think Tomasi is the perfect person to put on the Superman Wonder Woman title because I think he's bringing those nuances to their relationship. And one such way that he's doing it, and I'll do the negative first before I get into the positive, is that I think they're making Diana a little bit like Lois Lane. They're taking a lot of Lois Lane's personality traits and assigning them to Diana. Sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't, but I feel part of me feels bad because I think Lois Lane is such a wonderful character and so important because she's one of the most high-profile characters in comics who doesn't have any superpowers. So to kind of rob her of her identity, to give it to another character in favor of, developing something that is being done for company purposes or business purposes is a little unfortunate. But as I said, I am coming around to the relationship, and it's not because of the Lois Lane qualities, but because I think that Tomasi in particular is doing a great job exploring what it's like to have a true power couple, literally, and also two equals dating. I mean, I think that's something that we're seeing a lot in society, especially as women become, I think, stronger, stronger contributors to society. They're more in the workforce, etc. I think you have more couples that feel like they're equals. And so I think to see, Clark and Diana exploring this is really fascinating. And some of their arguments that arise, not just from, having, it's like they're both on the same level. So I think they're not used to dealing with someone who's on their same level. So that's interesting to explore because for obvious reasons of who they are. But I also think I like the way that Tomasi is having their ideologies clash. For instance, in the most recent issue, they were having a fight in a populated area, and they were having an argument about who should do what, where Wonder Woman was trying to tell Clark, she's like, I know that you're going to take care of the civilians. I guess she hasn't seen Man of Steel. And I will take care of our adversary because I'm the god of war. She's been turned into the god of war in the comics right now. She took over for Ares. And so she's like, let me do my job and you do yours. So let's trust in us to delegate. And it's really interesting to watch because I think for so long Superman has been someone who can't delegate. He's someone who feels he has to be everything to everyone all the time. And it's something that's never, I think, not been totally explored with him ever as a character. So to not only see that explored with him as a character, but through the lens of someone that he's dating who is able to delegate and let different people take on different tasks is really interesting. And that Diana could maybe make him grow through their relationship, as I think you would hope are all best relationships, would romantic or any relationship, not just romantic, but you would hope that people would make each other better. That's really interesting to watch. So yes, to answer your question, Lazar, I am coming around to this relationship. I think that perhaps Henry Cavill's Superman could benefit from a relationship in the movies, but he's supposed to be living with Lois Lane when this movie starts, Batman v Superman, so it would have to be a extramarital or they're not married, but some kind of an affair, and that would be interesting in and of itself. But I don't know if you want to go the Cyclops route. But I mean, he's already killed someone, right? So I guess why not have an affair? So I'm torn on what I want to see the movies do with it, but in the comics, I'm coming around. So I'm curious to how everybody else feels. Please leave your thoughts down below. Thank you so much for tuning in to today's episode. And I look forward to hearing what you have to say about today's top 3 stories and the viewer question, anything you'd like to see covered Monday, and any questions that you might have. Thanks for watching. Bye.